This week's episode is sponsored by Shutterstock.com with over 20 million high-quality stock photos, illustrations, vectors, and video clips. Shutterstock helps you take your creative projects to the next level. For 30% off on your new account, go right now to Shutterstock.com and use offer code GAMEBREAKER5. Richie wants to know why it's 5. I don't know, but it's Gamebreaker 5.
Gamebreaker TV.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to GuildCast episode 71 for May 15th, 2013. I think somebody in the chat room may have figured out the mystery to Gamebreaker 5. It's probably because it's May. Derp! I'm Gary Gannon. You're watching Gamebreaker TV, and today the Secret of the Southsun is now a little less secret. RNG returns, and we've got expansion news. Kind of, maybe, sort of. Yes, sure, or whatever. Richard Procopio, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you, Gary?
Awesome. I have to ask.
Yes?
How's that file in your tooth, bro?
It's still there.
What? Are you kidding? You still have a file in your tooth a week later?
Yeah, my appointment's tomorrow morning, so.
Oh my God. Has it turned into any pain? Like, has anything happened since we last?
There was a little pain a couple days ago, but it's dull now. So yeah. So hopefully the foreign object is removed from my tooth tomorrow.
Do you know how large is it? Is it just like a little thing?
It's,
like a
if it fits inside of a root canal, then it's got to be pretty small.
Does it blend?
Yeah, you blend.
God damn. That's one thing like I never want to happen to me. Is have a piece of like dental file stuck in my root canal. I had a moth fly in my ear once. That's what the closest thing I could think of. I had a moth fly in my ear and I had to go to the hospital and get a moth removed.
What?
Yeah.
For some strange reason, that sounds worse.
Matt Visual is with us again. Matt Visual, there you go. There's your intro. Check him out. Go to Twitter, Matt_Visual. Yeah. Like a long time ago, I was shooting a music video and we were in like a garage. And it was nighttime and there were all these like moths flying around like one of our like work lights and just crazy. Like I went to, it was like flying around my head and it was annoying me and I went to swat it out of the way and I literally swatted a moth into my ear and like he went all the way down into my ear canal. And holy shit, moths scream. They make noise and it is like, oh my God. So it took me a few minutes to realize because at first I was like, I swatted him and I was like, all of a sudden I felt something and I instantly knew. I was like, oh my God, he's in my ear. And he's like in, like all the way down, right? And he's not coming out. And now it's like his wings are probably like fluttered out and he's fluttering like crazy in my ear and he's trying to get out and he's freaking out. And he's going, like he's making noise in my ear.
Dude, that's worse. That is worse than the dental file thing.
Wow.
So for the
that's
first,
a unique
like,
situation.
It was awful. And then so for like the first 15, 20 minutes, I'm like, I don't know, what do I do? We're going to get this thing out. All of a sudden, my wife's like, I think we got to go to the hospital. Like, we can't get this thing out. And then now it's like 15, 20 minutes later and this thing is fluttering. And now it's just like my eardrum is just getting inflamed and it's starting to hurt and it's getting really, like painful. So she's driving me to the hospital and like she's trying to talk to me and I'm like literally like have my head like sitting on like the dashboard and I'm just like not moving and I'm like not talking to her and she's like talking to me and I'm just like,
you're like, I'm dealing with Mothra right now.
And I'm like, finally, I'm like, you have to understand, every time I speak, it's probably so loud for this thing that the moth just flips out because he's in my head. So
okay.
Then I got to the hospital and they were like, and I was like, is this weird? And they're like, no, this happens all the time. And I was like, really? Like, yeah. Then they took like this big syringe with like some warm water with like a hook on it. And they stuck it in my ear and flushed them out. And they gave them to me. I took them home in a bag. I think my mom might have it. I gave it to my mom.
This is the weirdest story I've ever heard. Oh, man.
Some bug spray in your ear to kill it.
Just off, right? Just off. I don't know if that'd be so good. Yeah, just like WD-40. Like, the kids, don't do this. Don't try this at home. You get them all. Yeah, so yeah, that's my story. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'd rather have the moth than the dental file stuck in my tooth, to be quite honest.
I don't know. My dental file doesn't scream.
I know, but there's something with teeth. Like teeth just kind of, I don't.
Yeah, my wife has the same thing. My wife can't deal with anything teeth or tooth related. She can't stand it. So
because when the pain hits in a tooth, like, oh my god, it hurts. Like, teeth can hurt. This was.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, this thing hasn't hurt all that much, so I'm fortunate. So yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully next week you'll have that thing out.
Yeah, we'll do another. I'll give you another report next week. Setting
off metal detectors at the airport from your dental file tooth. All right, let's talk about some Guild Wars 2. So the Secret of Southsun update has arrived. It is hit. So the question is, I'll start with you, Matt. How's it going? How's it going over on the Southsun?
Oh, it's going pretty good. I guess the first thing that really caught my eye was that backpack. Have any of you guys seen that backpack?
My backpack has jets.
It's like, what is this? I'm like Dr. Octopus.
I was gonna say it's like an octagon.
Ridiculous. Yeah. Well, is it Dr. Octopus or Dr.
Yeah, it's Dr. Octopus.
Okay.
It's also Dr. Octagon.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's glitched right now. It's supposed to be able to move, but yeah, I'm going for that. I already have my little flower backpack, nice little flower backpack. It looks beautiful on my very manly Norn. So
me too. I coined that the back corsage, right?
Yeah, just right there, just chilling.
Is it a blue flower?
No, it's yellow.
Oh damn! Because that would have been. See, they missed it. All right, my monitor's the background just blew up, so we're just gonna roll with that. But that would have actually been crazy because if it was a blue flower, like Dr. Octagon is Cool Keith, hip hop artist, and he has a song called Blue Flowers. That would have been amazing. Guild Wars, you missed the boat on that one.
A little Easter egg there.
That would have been so inside, like 3 people would have got it, but that would have been amazing. Yeah. All right, so Yellow Flower. Been one of them. Now everybody's YouTubing Blue Flowers by Dr. Octagon. It's an awesome song. I think from like late 90s though. So what's on the island though, as far as world changes go? New settlements, new locations. What are we looking at, Rich?
Yeah, they've changed some of the architecture. There's actually like a resort type area with people down by the beach partying, and when you go there, your clothes are instantly removed so that you're in your swimming trunks.
Sweet.
Yeah, there's new fortifications. There's new dynamic events throughout the zone. It's much more of a happening place now. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, they've got the new crab toss minigame, and they've got a bunch of achievements there, a bunch of dynamic events, and like we said last time, the story is basically the consortium is still trying to make money on this investment. They took all of the refugees from the Flame and Frost story arc, and they said, hey, come on over here and we'll put you up in homes and give you jobs. And of course, when they got here, they realized how dangerous this place is, and now all hell's breaking loose. Some of the settlers want to return home. The consortium won't let them. The Karka and the Reef Drakes and the Wind Riders are all being very aggressive for some reason. We're trying to investigate who is like spurring them on, who is trying to cause all of this mayhems here. So it's interesting.
How are those damn Karka? Are they as annoying as last time?
They still suck.
Yeah. They still suck really bad.
I hate them. I hate them. I was reminded of how bad they were. Because you just run around. If you're by yourself, they take forever to kill. And forget a veteran. I'm just talking about the normal ones. They take forever to kill.
So they haven't.
Yeah, just 2 of them whooped my behind. When I was going down there getting my flower backpack, 2 of them killed me.
Getting your blue flower backpack. How much? I think I have this here. Look at this. I have this. It's gonna be commercial. Just play this in the background while I'm talking. Dr. Octagon, come to the office now. What does he say? So now we just like random old hip hop songs. You guys don't know this song? Come on, this now. You're old, Richie. Don't lie.
I am old, but I don't know that. I'm not lying.
It's the new ArenaNet theme song.
Dr. Octagon, paramedic fetus of the East with priests from the Church of the
Operating Room. All right, let me get back to this. How much? What do we know about like actual content? How much content we've actually got here? Like how much how much can people really put time into? Have we gotten a sense yet?
It seems like 1 day of content, really. I mean, you see Duffy already has a guide on everything. Of course, they always do. But I mean, I got my flower in about 20 minutes or so. Did a couple crab toss. It's not much meat there, but it is fun.
Not
for
much meat there?
To get those
crab
backpacks.
Toss, crab meat.
Yeah.
Matt, just throwing it out.
Yeah. Just toss it out like crab. Yeah, but it's what do you think, Richie? Do you think there's a lot to do? I mean, did you finish everything?
I didn't finish everything yet. There's about 30 achievements or so that you can get. Some of them are pretty quick. There's a bunch of new dynamic events that you can experience, and you can talk to a bunch of new NPCs. But yeah, Matt's right. It's not like there's not like a new dungeon or anything like that. We just got one 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's not forget that the last patch was 2 weeks ago.
Totally unsubbing.
Yeah.
No new dungeon.
Yeah,
but you can get skins though. You can get skins. I totally forgot about that from the event chest as well. And
sure.
I guess so you can go around and do events if that's up your farm basically. And I've already seen like you see commanders all over the place just going around farming events trying to get those skins.
Yeah.
Those
Is
really
the area
cool
is being like
skins.
there's just a ton of people like overrunning the area right now? Everybody just rushing?
Yeah, I was in Overflow once. I was like, oh my goodness,
Really?
South Shore
It's been a
Overflow.
while. It's been a while, right?
Yeah, it was rare.
Overflow and Guild Wars 2?
Yeah, nice. And there was a champion event. The rioters gone haywire, whatever. There's some guy that's in the middle of an angry mob, and I was like, oh, no one will ever do this. And all of a sudden, a whole bunch of people showed up. I'm like, yes, and they got a little reward chest at the end of it. So it's definitely more lively. It's doing what they intended. They're bringing life back into a zone that they put a lot of effort into, obviously making, and now now they actually have people there to do stuff. So that's pretty cool.
And new players can go as well, which is always good. So
Yes, that's something we're going to talk about in a minute too. Yeah, we're going to totally talk about that. Whoa, hey, Mike. What's up, Mike? How about you stay over there? Mike Schaffner must have been in the studio last because everything breaks after he leaves. So
That's right.
what the most important thing? What about the crab toss? That's really the important thing. How's the mini game?
Well, I played quite a bit of it. It's if anyone has played Halo or grab the flag type mini games, it's kind of like that. Halo, there's a game called Oddball where you're supposed to hold the skull for a very long time. As long as, well, in terms of crab toss, think about seafood here. The longer you hold the crab, the more points you get. At the end of the round, at the end of 6 minutes, whoever has the most points, whoever holds the crab the longest, wins the game. So that's pretty much the basics of it. And then you have Karka rolling around, like 3 of them rolling around, hitting everyone and knocking you down, and it's crazy.
Is it fun? Is it really a good game?
I am terrible at it. I have never felt more like everyone is awesome at this and I am awful than that game.
A lot of people say that.
I pick up the crab, I lose it absolutely instantly, and everybody else seems to be able to run around that thing forever. I don't know. It's it looks like it could be fun if you weren't me.
All you need is the 3 skill. That's all you need.
The 3, the big boot, right? You hold that thing down and you run across the field, and then when that's over, they take it from you.
Yeah, exactly. You get 1-3. That's all you get. If you can't make that 1-3 count and get away from them in time for that cooldown to go down, yeah you better start dodging and get your skills out.
I want to get the title though. Was it Crab Grabber? I want the Crab Grabber title.
Oh, you're gonna have to work.
Crabs.
You should wait at night where nobody's on, and just do it by yourself. You're like the only one in the arena. Like that's gonna happen.
Overflow. So what? So you touched on it for a second. So everybody who goes into the area is instantly and automatically scaled up to level 80. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, content for everyone. What is this crap? Quit.
What is this crap?
What is this?
Yeah. I mean, they've been doing this a lot for many of the patches, right? They have a new special thing, and they want everybody to participate. There's really no reason not to.
Not to, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because that's how the game works. It's content for everyone. There's no content that's gated by your gear level or anything like that, and there's no reason that people can't come there. So, yeah, it's fun. Just, you can come in there in your alts, even if you haven't maxed your level, or you can have new friends that just started playing. You can just say, hey, there's new stuff. Let's go do it. So I think that's kind of, necessary almost if they're going to have this limited time content, right? They don't want to, exclude new players from the new shiny stuff. So I think that's probably a good way to go.
Totally. And it sounds like from what you're talking about with the backpack, I mean, gamers are not going to be, gamers hate fun. They just want loot, right? So Octagon backpack, blue flowers, everybody's happy with this. It's pretty damn cool.
What am I agreeing to again? Would you say gamers hate what? Fun?
Gamers hate fun. Yeah, they hate fun. They just care about loot. Like, they don't really care about fun. They just want cool stuff. They just want shinies. That's really all that matters. So
it really is. They rather grind than get the shinies.
I think everybody's excited about this one. What's going on with the glitch right now, though?
Which glitch?
Isn't there a glitch with the backpack?
Oh, it doesn't move.
Yeah.
There's tentacles. If you look at the backpack in the preview window, they all like writhe and look kind of, Cthulhu-ish and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when you put it on, it's just frozen. So hopefully they fix that.
All right. So like you said, it's limited content. If you guys haven't jumped in the past week or so, this event is lasting from May 14th to June 11th. So you got just a little under basically a month around to get in there and do it. Something we talked about last week, which sounded really interesting, or that week before, I can't remember, but traps in dubs. Do we have any, have you guys witnessed traps yet? Have you seen traps going on in dubs? Tell me about it.
Your patch came out yesterday. I haven't actually seen them in action. I mean, we have no more information about them. I mean, they are purchased for a combination of karma and badges.
All right. So nobody's played it. Let's go back to Blue Flowers.
That was one of the things I wanted to check out. But from what I've heard, that you can put the trap down for about an hour, and it stays there for an hour. If you log out, it disappears.
Uh-huh.
But you leave it down there for an hour, and whoever walks by it gets the, affected, whatever it is for, the 5 supply, and removes 5 supply and karma, I think, as well. 15 karma.
Does it remove karma? I thought it removed just 5 supply.
I don't know. Actually, I gotta look up the notes, I guess, again. But it removes it for like an hour, so you have to stay logged in. So I wonder what's the thing about that. Why can't you put one down and just log out? I always find that weird.
Well, I think you have a lot of people just logging in and just be tons of them around, right? They probably got to get rid of them somehow. That's like a quick way to at least like remove some of them from the world. I mean, you just have like massive buildup, I would think.
Yeah, it's not only logging out either. It's if you switch maps, it goes away too.
Yeah,
that would make sense. I mean, what do you guys have? What do you hearing? Are players happy with the separately instanced dub jumping puzzle?
Yeah, like I said last week, I don't see a downside to that. You can still go in. If you really want to go in and grief people, you can do that. If you want to go in and do the jumping puzzle, you can do that. You still have to get there through traveling through world versus world, but you don't actually count against the cap there. So I think that's a great change overall. I haven't seen any negative feedback about that.
Yeah, the best part though is for the people who die inside of the jumping puzzle, they get to port back directly in the jumping puzzle instead of having to go all the way back to World v World, then queue up, then go all the way back.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's good for sure.
Yeah, because that's far run.
All right, I want to talk about expansions. First, I want to tell you about it. We got a great deal going on with Shutterstock. If you guys checked out Shutterstock, go over to Shutterstock.com. If you need vector files, illustrations, stock photography, this is the spot to go. You want to go to Shutterstock.com, and when you make a new account, you want to use the promo code Gamebreaker5. We're actually making a new logo for a new site. Let me see if I can find it really quick. I probably should have prepped this. Let's see if we
get spoilers.
Well, you get kind of a spoiler here. Like, we're working on a new logo, and we got a new website coming for something else in addition to Gamebreaker. And we went to Shutterstock, and we're using some artwork here for a logo. Hang on, let me just.
It looks like Gamebreaker is getting an expansion. Ha ha ha.
As long as we're not getting crabs, we're all good. Boom. But yeah, here it is. Check it out. So this is going to be part of our new logo. Little spoiler alert. There's part of our new logo. Part. But again, right? Like, I mean, you'd have to hire like an awesome artist to kind of come up with something like that. Like, that's not like that easy to come up with. We went to Shutterstock, we did a bunch of searches, and we found this, and I loved it. And that's going to be part of our new logo on the new Gamebreaker site, coming very, 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 very soon. Very soon. So, you guys need artwork, footage, photography, vectors, backgrounds for your website. You need to spruce up your website, your guild website. Just go over to shutterstock.com, create an account, and use Gamebreaker 5 as the promo code. It's going to ask you for that when you create the account at the end, and you're going to get 30% off of your Shutterstock account. So go check it out today. It's awesome. We're using it a ton. I've been a huge fan of Shutterstock forever. Pretty much been using them for like 5-6 years. Everybody remembers Gax Online, a site I did years ago. Mostly Shutterstock. Yep. All right. Expansion confirmed. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. Everybody's freaking out. So basically during an earnings call, NCSoft's managing director had this to say. He said, in terms of box sales and microtransactions, they are still very strong. And of course, we are preparing an expansion pack. Yes, he said, and of course, we are preparing an expansion pack. But in terms of when we will actually launch it, it's something we are still monitoring. We are looking to the performance of the game, and we'll decide what will be the best time to do the launch. So preparing an expansion pack. Cue people going nuts because of the quote we got back in March about that an expansion pack was not going to be in the cards right now. But yes. It's called lying. It's called... Nope, I'm sorry, I meant marketing. It's called marketing.
Well,
I can understand. Hey, you can't...
The word preparing is kind of vague, right?
You can't release information too early, but I think everybody's got to be super excited about this. You know, confirmation, preparing an expansion. And they're still monitoring when they're actually going to launch this thing. So it's not like they're just going to, give us a date. I don't know. What do you guys think? When do you think something like this would come out? They say they're monitoring it. I kind of agree.
Christmas.
I mean,
you think
that's
so?
whenever. Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's
really?
when everybody. You think they're gonna?
It has to be a year, right? A year after release. That's around that good time. Bring everybody like, oh my gosh, new expansion, Kanta. Of course that would never happen. Yeah, it'll never happen. But it would be.
You don't think so, Richie? You seem to think Christmas is not
a couple months ago when we talked about this, I was like, based on the information we had, I'm like, sure, yeah, they're pumping out content really fast. Yes, we're going to have an expansion. But with Colin's comments a couple months ago, and then even what we're going to talk about in a minute here, I don't think so. Like we're in mid-May right now, and we have nothing announced in terms of any kind of expansion coming out. I don't think we're going to see it this year. I think they're really going to stick to this whole living story thing and see how far they can take it for a while. And when the numbers start to dip too low or whatnot, or when they're ready to pull the trigger, they'll pump it out. But yeah, you need a lot of people working on something like an expansion, and the signs all point to a lot of people are focused on these monthly updates right now. So that's just my opinion. I could be totally wrong, but.
Yeah, from an NC following up on that, an NCSoft rep sent massively a statement basically, and it does sound from the statement that they're very things going with the living story are going awesome. They said, "We are considering an expansion, but we are taking a wait and see stance. We are evaluating the performance of the game and deciding on when would be the best time to launch an expansion. But right now, our living story approach is very successful in keeping players engaged with new and exciting content." Launching boxed expansions are a great way to package content, but if we can do this on a more regular basis, something we've been doing since launch, it provides players with new content to explore and experience every time they log in. So, it's kind of nice that it almost. I mean, who knows how far they are along into this, but it almost sounds as if this wait and see approach is that it kind of exudes confidence. The way they're sort of presenting this of we don't feel like we're under the gun to get anything out. We can kind of sit back, relax, do what we need to do when we need to do it, and then release something, which Thinking a little bit more, I think you're probably right. I don't think we may not see something for Christmas. Everybody jumps to Christmas because of the, everybody's got vacation, money. And everybody's buying gifts, and everybody's spending money, right? And that is when you usually do it. But first quarter, second quarter of the year, I don't know. I think it would be early next year.
Yeah, I think when you think of something like a World of Warcraft or something like that, they put out content, or they used to put out content like every 5-6 months or so, and it was a sub-feed type game. So you constantly had that, they had to kind of justify, like, all right, we need to come out with something big, and it needs to, and every year and a half or so, we need to kind of announce a big expansion. Seems very different. If they're making a lot of money from the gem store, which I think they are, and they're able to support the company based on these updates, I think they put out an update every month or every 2 weeks, like we have going on right now with new items in the gem store. If they're able to stay afloat financially like that, then there's really no big push to actually put out a box set until they really need it. So. I don't think they're relying on box sales to keep this afloat. They're gonna keep things afloat with these monthly updates. And by the way, we didn't talk about this earlier, but I noticed earlier today on the releases page on the Guild Wars 2 website, they actually announced coming May 28th, Last Stand at Southsun, a desperate villain, a monstrous plan. So there's going to be another update like 2 weeks from now. So this is kind of nuts.
That's their schedule, man. That's their schedule. It's just rapid fire.
Yeah. So I don't know if they need an expansion in their financial plan.
I mean, that's the weird thing, right?
They do, though?
What, for an expansion?
Well, yeah, like, because in Guild Wars 1, what happened was they released a new class, and you leveled up from 1 to 20 again, and that was it. What do you think they'll extend the cap or add more skills? Like, what would they give with this expansion? Would it be a new race, maybe, with some new weapons for multiple classes? I don't know. It makes me think of what exactly an expansion means in Guild Wars 2. It can't just be another patch, it just can't be one of those.
No, it's got to be a big, robust package. I feel like people always have come to just assume that there's going to be a new class, right? How many expansions have we ever seen that are expansions without classes? So I would think definitely a class and a whole new sort of continent area, massive land mass. That's kind of a given.
Right, but to Matt's point, I wouldn't put it past them to do something a little different. I agree with the new class, potential new race, potential new continent, but I wouldn't put it past them to do something totally different. Say, hey, you know what? We're going to add a couple weapons, new skills, some new elites, but there's no new level cap. Because there might not even be a need for that kind of thing. So I wouldn't put it past them to be slightly different than what other companies do with.
You really think they'd leave off the level cap? I don't know. That might be weird. I think a lot of people really look forward to that. Like, hey, I'm going to level that next 5 levels or 10 levels. Like that's a pretty big bullet point on the side of the expansion box.
But that's what they did for Guild Wars 1. No one really needed an extra level thing. And with the weapons, they would have to add multiple weapons too, because you can't just add, like, for instance, someone who said in the chat, crossbow. You can't give that to everyone, So some of them will have crossbows. Some of them will have a big pole arm, like Guardians or whatever, and maybe some.
I'm curious. I'm watching chat room while you're talking, and I'm actually seeing people saying no new level cap. And why? Why? What's so? Why are you so like? Why are people against?
They would have to balance it.
It's not necessary. You can add new weapons, which gives you a whole new left side of your skill bar, right? Mm-hmm. And you can also just add new skills for every class, and just give people new choices. There's no real reason to give yourself new levels. Now, if they want to blow out the trait system, right? They want to extend that, then maybe they can tie that to levels.
New gear. I don't know. There's a lot that kind of goes along with it. I find it interesting that most people don't want it. Like, what's the
thing is, it doesn't work though, because if you gain an extra 5 levels, say if they extended it to 90. That means all the gear that they have, everything will become useless. All the money that they spent, all the exotics, the legendaries, everything, the 1%, all that is pretty much useless. And guess what? They're all character bound. They're all account bound. They're totally useless. There's nothing you can do.
So is it that you feel like it's too much in the progression category, and that's what Guild Wars was not supposed to be about? But that's I don't know. It's like weird. That's
just the way. If they do it, they're gonna get a huge backlash, and they're not gonna do it. I guarantee.
I can't say for sure either way. I can see them going the more traditional route as well, because you know what, some of these things that they put in the game since the beginning to kind of get away from the gear grind, get away from the progression, has had a negative impact in that players are less interested. Right? We've seen a fallout. We've seen people complain about there's not enough to do it in game. So as much as I like the concept, I can't totally, I can't totally say it's been all puppies and flowers. It's not all positive. So they might go with a more traditional approach to actually get, because people expect your gear is going to be useless. You're going to have to progress your character again type thing. But I also wouldn't put it past them to just say, you know what, we know what we're doing. We know what we want for our game, and it's different than what you experience in other games. And, if players don't like that, too bad. So I could see it either way. So I'm kind of like, sitting on the fence here a little bit, not really, committing. But it really just depends. Do they want to appeal to those players that have, haven't seen as much progression and they haven't felt that need to constantly log in and develop their character, or they're going to really just stick true to kind of how it feels right now with, hey, we just put out a new patch. We're going to level you all up to 80 if you want to participate. That kind of, is it going to be more that kind of feel, or more the standard kind of feel? It should be interesting to see what they choose.
I mean, do you think the player base? Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they're going with the more it's bad to say casual sense. If you don't log in and you're level 80 and you haven't done a dungeon for like 2 weeks, you're not behind. In those MMOs where there's a gear progression, that all your gear is outdated, right? That's what we were just talking about. They don't want that, and I think that's what they're going for. Especially if they do go up like 10 levels, they have to balance 10 more trait points, and that will go for PvE, World v World, and PvP. And that's going to be a huge thing to balance between each other. That's huge.
No, I see your point. It's going to be interesting to see how they do, because they definitely, I mean, a lot of people in the chat room are watching again just to see what they're talking about, and you're saying, Guild Wars 2, 20 levels, it was good, or not Guild Wars 2, Guild Wars, with 20 levels, did them just fine. But I do feel like Guild Wars 2 is a different game to some extent, and they're definitely testing the more progression-based kind of like tactics and like mechanics and things like that. I guess they're trying to find a sweet spot. Exactly, right? So it's not like and I do think like we have seen that, like Richie said, I mean, it's not all roses. We have seen a bit of a drop. We have seen a portion of the player base miss that progression, like, and they kind of like have got to that point where they're just like, what am I working towards? So it's, I don't know, it's going to be interesting.
Right.
I don't know. I'm
miss it a little bit.
I've even had close friends who love playing MMOs who were totally excited and amped for Guild Wars 2 because they didn't have that gear grind or that need to catch up and stuff like that. And yet they've stopped playing. Right?
Backfired.
And and they wanted it, and maybe they didn't really want it. So
this is that thing where I've said before, like a lot of times players don't necessarily know exactly what they want. Actually, it was funny. I was talking to side note, different game, but I don't know if you guys remember. I guess it was around PAX. It was around PAX that Rift announced they were going to go to more of a system like this. They were going to change, and they were going to like go to a non-progression system, and they were going to like
the PvP.
And people were just like, "What? Like you guys are just going to change this? This is crazy!" And then when I met up with and then like 2 weeks later, all of a sudden they were like, "Oh yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that." And they just like swept it under the rug and it's because they did all this tests, they did all this beta testing on the beta servers and stuff like that. And they were just like, people don't want this. They think they want it, and it sounds great, but when you really get into it, once you hit that max level, like there's such a huge portion of the player base going like, what do I do now? Like, why am I playing? What am I working towards? And they need that sense of like always having that next thing. That's why. I don't know. I could see them doing a level increase, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I don't. Why are Guild Wars 2 players so afraid of it? Is it because Guild Wars 1 just didn't have it? That's what made it different.
The people who are staying in Guild Wars 2 right now is because of what ArenaNet is doing with this no progression system. The people who don't want that are flocking to Guild Wars 2, and the people who want gear grind are going to like back to WoW or Neverwinter has that as well. I got to end game and I was like, do I really want to grind?
But isn't there grind? I mean, legendaries, like there is grind in Guild Wars 2.
It's not necessary though. It's not necessary.
No, but it still exists.
I haven't touched my gear since probably November, right? And I've experienced all the content that's come out since November. And like, there's probably little things I don't have all my ascended pieces that I need or anything like that. But I just don't feel like I need to experience the content. So it's definitely different. It's totally different than any other end-game MMO experience that I've had. And it's going to work for some people, and it's not going to work for other people, you know? And I think Matt's right, that the people that are still playing and still logging in every day don't care about that aspect of their MMO. And so that's why you probably hear from the people that are, you know, maybe in chat or the more vocal people in the Guild Wars 2 community, they might not necessarily care about having, you know, more levels for the sake of having more levels when an expansion comes. That said, you know, it's likely that they will, you know, put in some levels, and I think there have been some quotes before that kind of mentioned it, but you know, we'll see how it goes. I wouldn't be surprised if they did something different either.
I would love to see it. Go ahead.
You'd love to see what?
I would love to see if they do more levels, what they would do with it. I think it would be interesting, especially with the new areas. I want to see the new areas so bad. They're just sitting there in my map, and I'm like, oh, I want to see how Guild Wars 1 areas would transfer over to Guild Wars 2, and how would that look, you know? Especially, I know I've mentioned this too many times. Well, people have mentioned this in the chat as well. I want to see Kanta in Guild Wars 2, how it would look, you know? Because I always liked that factions. I always liked how the architecture worked. And, yeah.
What do you guys think? So if they don't do new levels, do you think the player base would be happy if they just keep trucking along with the living story as sort of like regular content?
I'm going to say no. I think there needs to be something more. For me, if there's no voice acting, I was talking to Richie about this. I was going through the achievements to get my flower. I was like, there's no voice acting. I'm skipping right through this. So
really?
Yeah, I did not pay attention. I was like, okay, what does Duffy say? Okay, and then I just click right through and I picked everything up. I'm that type of guy. I'm not everyone, but like for me, living story, it has to be voice acted for me to really like kind of care about it, I guess. I don't know. It's not my thing, I guess.
What about you, Rich?
In terms of what we're talking about here, like I actually read quest text, and I read what the NPCs have to say, and I ran around last night like just talking to every NPC and seeing every little like nook and cranny. Why are you here on the Southsun? And I try to get as much of it as I can, but I realize I'm probably in the minority there. Would I like just the living story? I think I want a full-fledged new continent. You know, I want full-fledged addition to my personal story, like Matt said, with all the cinematics and the bells and whistles and stuff like that. So long term, yeah, I definitely want it to. I want to see what happens with the Elder Dragons and different things like that. And so far, that the living story hasn't really gone that way. It's been other things that fill in the gap. So I think a mix is good. And I'm still we've criticized Living Story before for the pacing issues and stuff like that, but I'm starting to see if this every 2 weeks then can start to if they can hold that pace or really start to ramp it up, because what we're seeing right here in this new story arc for the Southsun, it's not a ton of new content like we said earlier, but it's definitely more than we saw in January when Flame and Frost first launched. That was literally like one achievement and it was really boring. And then it started, a couple conversations in refugee camps, in the weeks coming after that. But so far, this is launching with more stuff. So hopefully we see this start to really build and the teams really start to find their legs underneath them and they pump out bigger and more regular content. And I think that's going to be interesting to kind of tide you over until when they do eventually put out a new box with a new continent and a shiny new Kodan race.
Just please, I'm with you. Kodan, please. Of course it's going to be Quaggins. Everyone knows it's going to be Quaggins. Come on now.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No, I'm just joking.
Lix is just like cheering right now from somewhere as she's unpacking. All right, let's do some viewer questions. If you guys have questions for the GuildCast crew, send them in to submit at Gamebreaker.tv, and keep an eye on our Facebook page. That is facebook.com/GamebreakerTV. You can also follow us on Twitter at GamebreakerTV as well. It's all pretty much easy peasy. All right, so first up, viewer question this week from Seth Tech. This is with the recent talk of expansion. What do you guys think they'll be adding into the new expansion? Kind of talked a lot about this, right? But also, unlike Guild Wars 1, do you think they will raise the level cap? We kind of covered a lot of that. Derpity.
Just kind of rewind like a minute.
Yeah, I've always talked with this with my friends to see like what interesting things they would add in. Because you see all these creative patches, like Adventure Time. I mean, not Adventure Time. I keep calling it Adventure Time. Adventure Box. And you're like, man, they could do this. I wonder what expansions, what they can do in there. Create some really cool areas.
What kind of happened to like all those like crazy events right up into like in beta, like at the end of every beta, and they were having us do all those awesome like the Hunger Games and all that stuff. Where have those been? Where have those been? Like those were amazing and like they were right?
Yeah,
I totally forgot about that.
I remember talking about that like a year ago. You were like we were talking about like, did they really just develop these things for just a one-time thing? And we were shocked about that, right?
I kind of thought that was going to be their secret weapon to be like, pumping out content really fast at a really fast clip. I mean, what they're doing now, and then we kind of really haven't seen that happen, right?
Yeah, they used to mess with us in the end of beta weekends, sending out Monty Python's Little Rabbit, and I actually get that reference now. I actually watched the movie. But, all those little stuff, and they would make like dragons fly in different maps than they normally are in, and stuff like that. I was like, what happened to the messing around? That was fun. That was fun when they used to do that. And the Hunger Games, that was ridiculous. I would love for them to bring that back. Something like that. You get turned into like a robot. You get turned into a robot, right? And then it's like everyone had to, it was awesome. I don't know.
The corrupted one as well.
The corrupted. All right, next up, I got another question from Nick Hannon. This one from Twitter. It says, with a new living story, what in the new living story would you like to see become permanent content?
Well, it's interesting. The ArenaNet folks did a live stream, I think yesterday, and they basically confirmed what's going to stay. They said at the culmination of this story arc, which is just a 1 month story arc. So I guess at the patch on the 28th, they're going to one of the things that's going to remain permanent is a long dynamic event chain. I guess it's going to be similar to some of the ones that you find in Ore or something like that. That's going to actually remain in the game. So we know for sure that that's going to stay. I find it interesting that stuff like the minigame crab toss isn't going to actually stay. What's the, why not have that in the game? The only thing I can think of is so that the titles are a little bit special because you were there when that was active. But I don't know. It seems like that activity should stay in there. So that's what I would keep.
About the activities, I wonder if they would do like because there's some activities that are not there. If they release some big within a expansion pack, a bunch of activities, and they have like a new currency, that has every time you get first or second or third in one of these activities, you get like points, and you can use it to buy like cosmetics or more obsidian shards or something like that. I thought that would be cool, and have all the activities for different stuff like that. That could be something cool in expansion, or something permanent.
Yeah, I don't know why they just don't keep keep the crab toss in the game and then like rotate it like it is now and put it in the dailies, right? So it's like, sure, after this event's over and people aren't going to Southsun very often, there's not going to be a lot of people playing crab toss. But hey, once a week have it part of the daily quest, and it's kind of like when the keg brawl files into your dailies. I go to Holbreck and I'll play a match of that just to get the daily done because it's fun. So I would like to see these little activities stay in the game.
Crab toss. I agree. That sounds like one that should definitely stay. Richie Procopio, follow him on the Twitter at Richie Procopio, and of course go over to his YouTube channel. That is Bog Otter. Follow him on the Twitter at Richie Procopio. Always a pleasure, sir.
Thank you.
Matt Visual, follow him on Twitter at Matt_Visual. Hopefully you can see that underscore there, but it is Matt_Visual. And of course go over to his YouTube channel as well. Thanks for coming back again.
Oh, thank you.
Good to see you next week.
Oh, okay. You guys like me that much?
See you next week, Matt. Sure. Follow me on Twitter. He'll be here. Follow me on Twitter, Gary Gannon. Follow Gamebreaker TV, Gamebreaker TV, and keep an eye on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Gamebreaker TV. And keep an eye on our brand new website, probably launching sometime next week. So have a great week. We do the show live on Wednesdays. One more week, I think, at 8 PST, and then we'll be back to our 6 PST. So keep an eye on the Twitter and the Facebook. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week for some more GuildCast.
Adios.